Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Josmaya Kings, aka Jos, and that's about it. So for my first video, I wanted to do something a little bit more intimate, just let you guys get to know me a little bit and get to know a little bit of my story, where I come from, who I am, and why the fuck am I doing this YouTube video. So today is going to be a little bit of a story time where I'm going to share actually my coming out story. Drum roll please. Come out, I was like dragged out. Like imagine like you've been in the closet and like your parents grabbing you by the legs and be like, come out, and you're like, no. Like that literally was my story. I didn't plan to come out. I was dragged out. Some lessons that now that I'm 25, a couple lessons that I learned that allowed me to get to the place that I am today, and I feel like would help anybody in that situation. If you're in that age, 14, 16, 17, like teenage years, and you're thinking about it, you're going through it, these are the 4 lessons that I learned that potentially might help you. So if you just want to skip to the 4 lessons and like skip the wonderful story time, go ahead. But if not, it's a really interesting story. Definitely some stuff happened up in there, but it has allowed me to let go of a lot of things, love the people that are around me, and love myself, and get to the other side, which is a lot of people sometimes want to rush it, but you know what, it does get better. It does get better at the end. And when you get to the place where you're like, bruh, I am gay, like there's nothing you could change. If a pole is bent, it's very ain't no changing that back. You know what I mean? So here it is, a little background. I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic. I was born in 93, and around that time, like late 93s, early 2000s in DR, the kind of words of gay, bi, like lesbian, that wasn't really a thing. Like it's something you heard about. It was something potentially that was kept on the DL, like, you know Funalito, you know that, you know my primo, yeah, he's dating that other primo. Like it was that, like it was something was very on the DL, where like here in the early 2000s you kind of started seeing that pop up. DeGeneres came out, her show at the time that she was doing that had a gay character, so like here was like developing, like it was a conversation. On DR that was not a conversation. So I never really had what the word was, or like what fit me. Like I always saw myself having children, but never like oh with a man. It was always like, oh, just by myself. Because when you don't know, when you know that's not what you are, but you also don't know what you are, have that in your periphery, you're like, alright, then it's just me. I don't know how it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be like God did to Mary and just have a baby. If he could do it for her, he could do it for me. I would get her like 15, 16. My friends already kind of know. It wasn't a big thing that I had to tell anybody, just because in my high school it was like gay galore. I get into a serious relationship, at what we like to call serious, at the age that the hormones kick in and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna marry this person, it's gonna be great. So I got into a serious relationship, or I think 15, 16, and I'm like madly in love with this girl. Like my heart, my mind, my whole body sweats every time I was like, oh, I have a girlfriend, all this stuff. Now in my time, although you guys, I don't know what you guys do now, send the tweets, send the text, whatever. In my time, we used to write each other letters. We used to write long letters, like nice penmanship, calligraphy, like stickers, drawings, expressing our feelings. They're like, oh, we're gonna share, you know, life together. You're the love of my life. I can't wait to marry you. Mind you, we're 14. We're gonna marry each other, and you know what? After we're done with school, we're gonna get off. We're gonna get jobs and just be together, right? Now, the best things about these letters that we used to give each other was that we used to fold them up into like little boxes. We used to do some crazy, like we could do doves, we could do hearts, like fold them into hearts and give it to them. I think it took more folding these letters into these shapes, or like these secretive boxes, than writing the actual letters. But it was kind of cute. Like you'll find a little like box sticking out of your locker. Like it was beautiful. It was just the good old days. I could barely get a text. I'm home. It's like at evening, I'm doing homework, and I find this little lovely little box letter, and of course a little heart, and who it was from. So I'm here like, ooh, babe, got me a little letter. I'm about to read it, right? I open up the letter, I'm reading it, I'm shedding a couple of tears. I'm like, the love of my life just wrote me a letter, we're getting married, she's the one, she's the one. My hormones was all kicking in at this point. Great. So I'm in my mom's bed actually, because at the time I used to wait for her to come from work, as she worked the late shift. So as you can see, I'm reading this letter. It's getting late and I'm reading it, wiping away the tears, books everywhere. You can just imagine me reading it like, oh my God. And I put that baby on my chest and I fall asleep, right? Next day, all I remember is waking up in my bedroom now. My dad, like most nights, my dad would pick me up and put me in bed. Though sometimes I would find bruises in my forehead, in my arms. So I think they dropped me a couple times. So I feel like there's a little tension, but I'm like, they're probably tired. They work late, blah, blah. So my dad used to drop me off at school. I put my son in book bag, head up and go. The next day I come home, my mom, like I come in the door, she slams the door behind me. She's like, well, nice to show up. And I'm like, yeah, what's up, kid? Like, I got homework to do. Bye. She was like, no, come here. And I'm like, nah. If you're Hispanic and you're watching that and your mother says your full name and tells you to like, come ven acá, yo. Even if you don't know what you did, just know you done fucked up. So she's like, ven acá, yo Smaida Reyes. And I'm like, wow, she said the S in my name. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I'm like, okay. She brings me to her face and she's like, there was someone mujer. And I'm like, oh, what? Like literally, I'm like looking at my mom, like in my head, I'm like, why you say that, girl? Like, I don't like women, you know. I like the boys. I like that male species, whatever. And she's like, so what's this letter? And she pops up the letter and I'm like, I'm like, yeah, I forgot to tell you I'm dating somebody. Wonderful guy. I'm not gonna say his name. I told her this. Wonderful guy. He's Trinidadian. He's gonna marry me. Like, it's gonna be great. She takes the letter and slaps me across the face and she's like, if you think I'm stupid to not know that a girl wrote you this, you got me fucked up. And I'm just like, yeah, I feel like my whole world just like hit me and I'm like, oh, how do I talk myself out of this? How do I talk myself out of this? Like, I'm scared of my mom. And her reaction was throwing me off. The reason it was throwing me off is because earlier in the couple months, my cousin came out as bisexual. And I used to kind of like hint to her mom, like, oh, what is that? Like, is that okay? And my mom used to always have the response of like, people are people. They are people, like they're people. You accept them, you love them for how they treat you, not because of what they do, what they are. Like, that doesn't matter. So I always held that to me. That's like, to me, I didn't really think I had to like do this whole thing. And her reaction was throwing me off. So I'm sitting here like lying. I start crying because I start realizing that something that I thought was going to go very differently is happening, right? Like, I really thought this was going to go very differently than what is going on right now. So I'm sweating and I'm bringing up every excuse that I can think, and I'm like, no, that's not mine. It's a friend. Like, that's not mine. Like, no, I don't like girls. I don't like girls. I don't like girls. Long story short, my mom literally like smacked me a couple times. I'm not gonna get explicit about that. Yeah, it was a little intense. Whatever. I'm crying up a storm. I went to my bed. She went off to work and she was like, we're not done talking about this. And I'm like, oh snap. Like, what am I gonna do? Cool. So then I go to bed and I'm crying my eyes out because I'm literally taken aback. Like, the words aren't coming because I'm so shocked at like what just happened. Like, I didn't expect that for my mom. Like, my mom would be the one that would talk to me and like be like, what's going on? Like, let's figure this out. Not the like, no, we can't have this. Like, you can't be this way. Like, even just like not letting me, you know, let it like out, you know. So next day I wake up and I'm like, you know what, like, what do you want me to do? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Yes, it's from a girl. Whatever. You're supposed to love me, accept me for who I am. So the gayest bitch I am. Right? Next time, my mom doesn't even like wake up to like say hi to me in the morning or just even get ready. She stays in bed. And my dad is like, get your stuff, get in the car. He takes me to school. So I get in there and now I can see why there was tension the previous day, because it was the same tension. I didn't think my dad knew. So I'm like, wow. Get in the car, my book back there, and he literally like right a red light. I remember this day like it was yesterday. Right a red light, and he looks at me and he's like, in Spanish of course, he looks at me, he's like, so I heard you like women. Looks at the steering wheel, drives off, looks again. You want to tell me what's going on? Is this true? Keeps walking. So I'm here like, in my head, this is how fucking crazy I am. And I just, in my head, I'm like, yo, me and my dad, we about to bond. Like, we about to talk about ladies right now. He's about to give me some tips. Like, it's about to be crazy. Like, our relationship was about to take off. Like, in my head, I'm like, you know what? Like, mommy was, but my dad, like, come on. Like, babe, yeah, so I'm like, yep, it's true. Literally. I'm like, yep, it's true. All I hear is the wheels of the car go skirr, and I'm here like, you're trying to catch on to something. I'm like, whoa, like you're that excited? He looks at me, he's like, get out my car. And I'm just like, why? We're gonna do some test runs now. Like, now we're gonna find the ladies. But that was not the case. He was like, just get out of my car. And I was like, you do know, like, I'm like 30 blocks away from my school. And he was like, just get out of the car. And I was like, I started reading the vibe, and I was like, yup, this again, not expecting this. So I grabbed my little book bag. I'm like, all right, skirt, throw my little thing. I feel the tears like bubbling up, you know, mind you, my eyes, like, when I cry, my eyes become like a bit like, just, you ever seen the movie Wall-E? How Wall-E has like the eyes all out? Literally, my eyes become Wall-E, and I get big headaches. It's a whole different thing. And I just start walking. Like, I'm like, I gotta make it to school, so start walking. I'm looking for change. If I grab money, sometimes the parents give me money, sometimes they don't, like for lunch and things like that. I didn't have them. I'm like, all right, so I guess we're walking. So I'm hauling ass. I'm trying to make it to class. 2 blocks in, I feel my phone vibrating. I'm like, all right. I look at my phone. I'm like, ooh, what's this? So I pick up the little phone. It's my mom. So I'm like, what's up, mommy? Or like, my mom's crying, and she's just like, do you want to kill your father? And I'm just like, no. He's like, well, you're gonna be the death of your father. Clicks the phone on me, and again, like, the just like, literally, like, Niagara Falls had nothing on my eyes. Like, I was just crying. That was it. Like, came back home, and my parents weren't really talking to me again. They would bring up the conversation again, and ask me, hey, are you gay? And again, I already said it. I said I'm going to stand my ground. It is what it is. The difficult part of all of this was because how I thought it was going to go was not how it went. We went from being a very close family to not talking. Me and my parents went about 6 months without literally, like, verbally talking to each other about anything. I used to walk into the house with my book bag, reading my homework. Nothing would ever be said. Like, nothing. Like, I would say hello, no response back. And it went for 6 months. Now Hispanic cultures, you know, like, when you get home, your grandmother, your mother, whatever, they have like your little plate of food, or they have food made. Like, when this was going on, nothing. My mom wouldn't even cook. If she did cook, it was like, that's the food for my brother, the food for my dad to take home. And literally, I spend my days just eating like cereal. It got to the point where certain times, like, my mom wouldn't leave me money for like lunch money. She'd be like, I'll just figure it out since you got your whole life figured. And I'm just like, okay. There were a lot of arguments in between those days, because I'm a very, like, bold person, in the sense, like, if something's bothering you, if I don't agree with what you're saying, I will tell you to your face. And at the time, of course, I was a teenager. I didn't have the right mechanism or vocal words, expressions to do it in a proper way. So I was rude. I was like, being like, get the fuck over it. Like, I'm gonna live my life, you get the fuck over it. Like, those kind of things. And my parents were kind of like, you know, taking it back, and they were being aggressive, and then with their aggressive, I was being aggressive too, and it was like just this clash. I'm like, all right, cool. My parents then, after 6 months, took on the kind of like the role of like strictness. Like, literally, I was out of school at 3 p.m. My parents were outside of the door at 2 o'clock waiting for me to be like, you're getting in this car, you're not doing nothing else, we're taking your phone, all these, like, literally take my phones, my computers, everything, and just bring me home. Be like, do your homework, you're going back to school tomorrow, and that's it. Friday would come around, just stay home. Like, they went into strict mode. And now I'm kind of like, again, like, with my thing, I don't like to be restricted. I don't like to be, especially if I've done nothing wrong. If I've done nothing wrong, I'm just like, we don't talk about this, and I will not shut up. I'm gonna be bold, I'm gonna be loud. And, you know, it was, again, just a clash. Literally, this lasted all through all of my high school. And then when I went to college, I decided to make the move of like, I am going to go away for some time. Like, I cannot be around the same circle. My parents are the typical Hispanic that everybody needs to be close. Like, you go to school down the street and you come back home, you live with your parents till you're 30. I knew it for me, and how our relationship was going with my parents and with my brother, with myself, like, I needed to go away. Even if it's going away Monday through Friday, but I needed that space to be like, listen, we're not in agreement for certain things. I don't see your point of view, you don't see mine. I need to remove myself from the occasion. So I was luckily enough to be able to have that opportunity. when I went off to college. And when I went out to college, that's when everything just changed, because once you get to college and you dorm or do stuff like that, you realize that there is a world outside of your high school world, of like your daily routine. You get a little taste of like what's out there, who's out there, and like what could you do with your life. And you realize that everything is temporary. Like the transition I made in a matter of weeks, in a month, in 2 months, from being home to then being in college, it was crazy. Like I lost a lot of friends, I lost a lot of family members, I lost my relation with my family members. But then I went off and saw that there's a world out there. There are people who don't give a flying fadoodle if you're gay, straight, bi. Like they care more about your mind, they care about your logic, they care about like, yo, you're creative, like your vibe is awesome, like you're, you know what I mean, you're like, you find your people. The people are like, we don't care about that. Or like, oh, me too, let's talk, let's bond, share experiences. And you see that, and you see these professors and people who are talking to you in ways that is like, it's not just about what's here, like what we know, like for example, the world of my parents, Hispanic, Dominican, traditional family. And now you go off and you see like a university and people coming from all over the world, and you're literally taking from like the blindfolds and doing this, and you're like, oh snap, like there is a world out there. There are other people out there. There's people that are going through the same thing as you, people who have gone through it differently, who have had it worse, who have had it easier. But at the end of the day, they're out there. This here, that temporary thing, is literally temporary. It's gonna fade away. And even if that relationship didn't get fixed, I got out to see that I have other relationships where my life and who I was meant to be was gonna bloom regardless. So after that, you know, once you start getting that kind of independence and that kind of like pep in your step, and you show that to your family, like with my family, like they saw that I wasn't arguing anymore. You know, they would ask me, how are you doing? I'm good. They wouldn't ask me, of course, of dating, stuff like that, but I just became at peace. I would come home jolly jolly. I knew that for the day that I was there, I couldn't say, hey, I'm gonna go, you know, find a woman tonight. But I was okay with that, because you know what, I knew that in 24 hours I was gonna go back and be fine. And they started seeing, they're like, whoa, like, you know, I got a job. Really, second week in college, I got a job. I was like, whatever, like if you're sitting here that you're gonna take my phone every time that you find me talking to a girl and this, I gave them their phone back. I was like, here's your phone, I have my own, I've got my own plan. You just figure things out, and you realize, you start building your nest, you start building your ground, you start building your step each and every single step of the way to be you and to be comfortable. And my parents started seeing that. And Hispanics have this thing where they know when they're about to lose something that's valuable to them, they kind of settle down. They're like, what's important here? And my family always taught me that family is the most important. So after 2 years of being in college, it was kind of like, you're more important than whatever it is that you do in your own time and with your life. And that's the same conversation we had about the career I chose, the people I wanted to interact, where I wanted to go. And it was kind of like, hey, as long as we know you're safe, we're here for you, and whenever you're ready, we can have those conversations. Don't get me wrong, like the first years of college, I wasn't talking about I'm walking down the aisle with a girl, but here and there my mother would be like, so you're dating anybody? Sometimes I would answer, sometimes I would say no, I'm not, or sometimes I would say, yeah, I found this girl, nothing serious. She'd be like, okay. We wouldn't get too deep into it because she wasn't there and I wasn't there yet. But it wasn't this like, you only have this. So it was just like, okay, you're good, you're happy, you're good, whatever you need, you come from me. So the relationship has bloomed. Like you'll hear my mom be like, we make jokes about going out and stuff, and like, you know, my grandmother and people come around, they're like, let's go to a strip club. And my mom be like, well, we have to go to a girl one too, because you know we got to be inclusive. Like we got to that point. I would have never imagined that, getting there from the previous years that I had in my high school experience, but we got there. And some days, you know, they don't want that shoved in their face, and it's okay to just be like, oh, you know what, not today, like whatever. And I respect the decision. And there are some days that I'm just like, hey, this is my girlfriend, this is the one I'm dating. They meet her, they don't, and then we keep going. Coming out of something that I don't understand why we have to do, I just don't understand why I can't just be like, hey, this is who I'm dating, and it has to be this grandiose thing, but it has to be done. Because surprisingly, in the world that we live in today, we still have people who are kind of closed-minded and kind of have their blindfolds into this way of how it should be. And hopefully the 4 lessons that I learned through my journey can help somebody make the decision if they're ready to come out, if they even want to come out. Because at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. It's whatever your heart tells you that you want to do and who you want to bring into that new life of yours. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching my coming out video. I hope that you liked the story. I hope that you connected. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can go ahead and leave me a comment. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Also, part 2 of this video with the 4 advices or lessons that I learned will be posted up shortly on my channel. You can go ahead and take a look. Bye.